Hello. Today we are in the literature text of our reading learning target. And we're going to look at the following questions. How do readers know what to believe? What strategies and resources can I use to figure out unknown vocabulary? And what is literary text really about? As we do that, we're going to look at the following learning targets. We'll be looking at learning target number 1, to cite several pieces of evidence in the form of correct or specific examples from the text. Make sure that you quote the written work in your answer choice in order to get credit for this one. Please remember that means that your evidence should be word for word and that you have quotation marks around it. You'll also be making inferences. Learning target number 2, to make claims in the form of inferences, conclusions, and generalizations drawn from the text. Remember that means to state an opinion that you think is found within or hidden within the text. Part of that, we're also going to be looking at theme. You're going to look at what a theme of the text is and how it develops over the course of the text. Remember, the theme is that hidden message or meaning that the written work gives all readers. From there, probably one of the most challenging targets you'll face in today's activity is to analyze how particular elements of the drama interact. You're going to look closely at how different literary parts and terms affect each other in the written work, such as how the setting impacts the plot of the piece, which is specifically what you'll be focusing on with this one. You'll also be looking at learning target number 10, the structure of the drama. We talked about different structural elements of a drama as we've read Sorry, Wrong Number. And as we read an excerpt from a different drama, I want you to look closely at the form or structure of the drama and how the layout contributes to the poem's meaning. Remember that structure are those physical elements that make up the text. We talked specifically about the structure of a drama by including cast of characters, dialogue, and stage directions. So make sure when you get to that question, you use those specific terms as you explain your response to the question. And lastly, as we always practice, you'll be looking at learning target number 14, to determine and clarify the meaning of unknown words and phrases using context clues. Please make sure that you're able to use your resources and define specific words that I have asked questions for throughout the text, as well as I've asked you to look at what are some clue words that surround the word that can better help you understand what the word means, and then also provide a synonym for the word. Within one part specifically, you will be looking at learning target number 5 as well, to create an objective summary of the text. Please make sure that your summary ties into the elements of the conflict that are embedded within that section. We're actually going to be doing a very specific type of summary that's called a paraphrase. With a paraphrase, you need to make sure that you reread an entire section. Make sure that you clear up any understood or confusing vocabulary until you understand it, and then rewrite the entire section in words that are most clear to you. That will be for question 2 within the piece, which reads, men's courses will foreshadow certain ends to which, if persevered in, they must lead. But if the courses be departed from, the ends will change. Say it is thus with what you show me. That is a very challenging set of text. I want you to put it into your own words. Figure out what this whole thing means and write that summary for question 2. Please keep in mind that some of these questions will ask you to require and cite text evidence, while others do not. Make sure that if it asks you to cite text evidence, you in fact cite text evidence. The 2 questions that ask you for that is question 8 and question 9. We've talked a lot in writing class about implicit prompts. Both of these tie into 2 different reading skills. But the way of the worded question, it creates a bit of a challenge to spot or figure out what the 2 skills are. The first question reads, what's the role of the setting in both the drama and the novel excerpts? Cite text evidence to support your response. Remember that implicit word role means that we are looking for a way to explain how the role of the setting is shown. Sometimes, and what I noticed over your grading your type 3s, some of you, in fact, confused the question and only focused on the role. But remember, we're looking at how a specific role is used for the setting. So you need to make sure that you connect the setting to a specific role or serving a specific purpose, which is what role means. Role means that you're aware that this particular reading skill of the setting has a purpose, and the purpose is to emphasize or do something in particular for one and the other reading skills. You get to decide which. For question 9, it's also a very implicit question. We're looking at how does the use of stage directions in the drama affect the way the author tells the story compared to that of the novel excerpt? Cite evidence from the passage to support your response. So you're focusing specifically on the drama and the structural element of stage directions in the drama. But remember, looking at structure is not the only area you have to focus on for this question. This word how is implicit. It doesn't clearly connect the second reading skill that you need to focus on, which means you have to decide. Explain how the stage directions serve a purpose by connecting the stage directions to one of these elements. Maybe the stage directions help emphasize some element of one of these, and explain how. And then supply a cited evidence to support yourself with an explanation. So that's what we're going to focus on for today's reading activity. We'll be working on a different reading excerpt tomorrow as well. This excerpt should be familiar to you. It is A Christmas Carol, a classic around this time of year. Please keep in mind that this classic piece has been adapted into many different formats and rewritten by many different writers. And you're going to get a sampling of two today, one from the original novel written by the original author, Charles Dickens, and then another as turned and adapted into a screenplay or a drama by Israel Horowitz. And you'll get to see the difference between the two. Keep in mind, the original excerpt is the first thing you're reading. So this is, in fact, from the very original A Christmas Carol. Not a movie, not a play, but a novel written by Charles Dickens. So please enjoy looking at different versions of this classic as we go throughout the week and analyze A Christmas Carol. Go ahead and get to work.